I have notes on this. What we're doing today is we are having a rant about some things. I have a list on my phone. Hopefully we'll get through it relatively quickly and not get too distracted, because I do want to upload this whole thing and chuck it up on YouTube, because I promised that I would upload some thoughts of mine on the whole YouTube algorithm thing with this whole Red Dead situation. Not in terms of like that's, it's done, it's fine, but just things that I've noticed about how YouTube handles interactions and stuff. Also how social media in general handles interactions and stuff, how people have been abusing how that shit works, and just some, if you guys didn't hear yesterday, Kerri got shadow banned off the Twitters, and we're going to talk about some hypocrisy in their rules and guidelines and how they say that context matters when in fact it does not, especially if it was manually reviewed. So let's start. Okay, so my notes, literally it says notes, dat bullshit. Okay, so now how YouTube appears to judge interactions and push content based on initial feedback. If you've been in my channel before, you will know that I played through the entire of Red Dead Redemption. It came to a total of like 10 videos, including the epilogue. Episodes 9 and 10 were the ending reaction to the actual game, and episode 10 was the ending reaction to the epilogue. Now, if you were actually in the stream and you watched the entirety of the playthrough, or you watched through the entirety of the playthrough on YouTube, you would have seen that throughout the entire thing, there was a lot of praise for the environment. There was a lot of love for the characters. There was some frustration around mechanics and all this kind of thing. Whatever. It's a let's play. That stuff happens. However, usually when I upload let's play type stuff, it's more of just an archive of that content rather than something that people will actually click on to watch. So what I mean by that is usually when I upload a let's play, it's just kind of stuff that my viewers who didn't get to catch the stream get to watch in the background if they feel like it, and that's all fine. However, because YouTube will essentially bait clicks with tags and things like that, if the tag is relevant enough, that'll start generating traffic. So for episodes 9 and 10 specifically, they included reactions to the end of the game. Turns out that is something that there is a subset of people that actively go and search for on YouTube. They want to go onto YouTube and search for specifically how different people reacted to the same game. I don't know why, they just find it interesting. Apparently reaction videos are a big thing. So the fact that those two videos had the actual tag Red Dead Redemption 2 ending reaction in them was what started drawing the views initially in the first place. That's the reason why my previous videos didn't have that much engagement and stuff, because it didn't include anything particularly interesting or a particular like pivot point or anything like that in the story like this one did that people are specifically looking for. So, getting back to how YouTube appears to judge interactions and push content based on initial feedback. Now, let me go over here so that you can see my statistics of this video. Now, this is when I uploaded the video, 0 seconds. See? You can see that right there. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, here we go. So, let's go by views. Let's have a look at views here. So 0 views. It got like a couple of views here and there. At some point someone commented, because you can see here comments, whatever. So this here was when people started commenting on things. So there was only 2 comments. but someone felt strongly enough about the content to comment on it in some way, to press the dislike button, to do whatever. And I'm fairly certain that there were dislikes on the video before there were likes. So if you look in here, so we've got dislike 6 on 113. So 113, we had 1 like on 113. So it's safe to assume that the first interaction was most likely a dislike, right? So you've got an interaction. It doesn't matter that it was a negative interaction. It doesn't matter if it was a positive interaction. There was an interaction on the video. If there's a comment, that's an even stronger interaction. YouTube doesn't really give a shit whether it's a positive or a negative interaction. It's just like, this content was interesting enough for someone to interact with that content, because that's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort for someone to actually go out of their way to press a button, to type something, to press the enter button again, etc. Right? So, and the fact that it was not received well was actually the thing that got me as many views as I have. If you've been to this channel before, again, you'll know that there was literally fucking nothing out of the ordinary about that playthrough. I didn't change how I react to shit. I didn't change how I give feedback on stuff in the game. If something would frustrate me, I will tell you. If something is amazing, I will tell you. I was incredibly frustrated by the ending. I had my own reasons for that that were probably not necessarily covered in this particular episode. So if that was the only one you went to watch, you only got this much of the story, mate. Sorry to tell you. So let's go back to how society functions and engages in conversation. This is based on my own experience as a community manager, on just people watching in the world, and viewing people's conversations in general. We talked about this on stream previously, right? Generally speaking, people are, might as well come over here again. So generally speaking, people are more likely to voice their opinion, to say something, to actually go to the effort of performing an interaction if they have issue with something, if it is negative, if it allows them to complain, or if it's a cause for conversation to try to fix something. I'm not happy with this thing, I need to fix it. Let me tell you all the things I hate and how I would like to fix it. That's generally what gives people the opportunity to say more stuff or do more stuff or feel like they have to take action on something. If something is good and pleasant and nice, generally as a species, we tend to just kind of be content with that, which is normal. That's totally normal. If you are content, if you're happy with something, you're just going to sit there and go, oh, that was nice. Really enjoyed that. That was quite good. All right, next video. And you'll just continue on and most likely not interact. What does that tell you? Excellent. So glad you asked. It means that negative interactions are more likely to occur, especially if you're baiting for it, and are more likely to generate ongoing engagement and interactions. So all the people who came onto my video commenting random stuff, who don't know who the hell I am or what I'm about, haven't even watched any of the other videos, didn't do any of that stuff, they just came and felt like they had to say stuff on the video. This comes down to the mob mentality part of it as well. We're going to talk about mob mentality stuff. So basically, YouTube rewards the behavior that if something is a gut instinct to be acted upon, that's a reason for it. That means that content is interesting and it's a reason to push that content to more people. I'm fairly certain also that the algorithm in how it suggests videos will work based on individual users, like generally how individual users interact on the website. So for example, say you have a group of people on YouTube who specifically go out of their way to, for example, search for ending reaction videos to games that they like. And there's a subset of those people that also generally, when they're watching these videos, will usually interact in some way. Maybe they're more likely to press the dislike button or the like button. They're more likely to comment. They're generally more active in that way. So you get the one guy who comes to your video who says, this is fucking shit, I hate this thing, you should go die, you're a horrible person, and they hit the dislike video and they post that comment. YouTube then goes, oh, this person liked this video. Okay, cool. What type of person are they? Okay, they generally go around and they post disgusting shit on people's videos and they interact really well. Okay, cool. So let me just suggest this video to other people who are like that person, because they're really gonna like this video. They'll fucking love it and they'll just interact their minds out of this video. So it pushes out to like all the rest of the people who are similar to that guy. So then you have the first week of views. Let's go back to our little thing here. This peak occurred about 4 days to a week after the initial interaction. So here we go, like the 13th, and then it peaked on the 19th. That's 6 days later. YouTube was pushing my video for a week to people. And it's still getting like videos and stuff, because as people keep commenting and I'm commenting back at them, the video is still relevant in YouTube's eyes and it continues suggesting to people as well. But I think it starts trailing off because it starts getting to the point where people are like, it's run out of people who have something to say and is now pushing out to people who just kind of generally mill around on YouTube and watch the content. So that's why stuff that tends to be more controversial, is clickbaity, is like all that type of content can be really successful on YouTube. That's why you have stuff like Twitch fails. That's why you have stuff like Twitch thoughts that's successful on there. That's why you have all these types of things that people love to hate will blow the fuck up on YouTube. That's essentially that. Now, it essentially works the same way on most social media. If we take Twitter, for example, I've got written down here how brands and individuals can use these behaviors to bait communities into outrage for visibility, because there's no such thing as bad press. What are we talking about? We are talking about our good old vegan friends who decided it would be a wonderful idea to post a tweet, essentially a defamatory tweet about someone who a lot of people have very strong positive feelings for. And why the fuck would anyone do that? Of course, because it'll make people angry. And what do they do when they're angry? They have to say shit. They have to take action. They have to retweet the thing and say, guys, look at this thing, that's terrible. This is fucking terrible. We need to stop people doing this thing. Or they're responding and saying like, you guys are full of shit and like, this is terrible and blah, 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 blah. So like, do you see what's happening? You're essentially, I really can't. You're literally enabling that content by having that reaction to it. It is literal bait, counting on the fact that outrage will occur so that people will interact with it and it will get as much visibility as possible. Because the more people respond to that tweet telling the brand how horrible they are, the more people see it and the more people get angry and the more people start debating on these long threads about the issue and all these types of things. Like, that's how it works. Now people are more aware of that brand. It doesn't matter. It essentially these days does not even matter what the message is. It's just the brand awareness aspect of it. And so I actually watched a did I accidentally delete all my notes? Feels bad, man. Ooh! I deleted my notes. Okay, it's fine. So I noticed that Snitchery had uploaded a video on YouTube essentially talking about the same thing with Givenchy, the lifestyle makeup brand. I don't know, they have some new foundations, and they were like, check out our new foundations, and everyone's like, there is nothing for people of color in here, you guys are terrible, and rah, rah, rah. And there was like all this outrage based on like, how dare you guys, blah blah blah. And there's a whole bunch of reasons behind whether or not it could have been the same type of situation, but the fact of the matter still stands that when you, yes, cancel culture, I guess that's the way that you can put it. Essentially, everyone has to be speaking up and like saying all these things, like defending everybody, and that's fine. That's wonderful. That is like the coolest thing that we could ever do for each other. But when it's done on social media, it's a one-sided situation. It doesn't matter what you say. If you spell the name of the company correctly, if you respond directly, if you retweet, like all these things, it will give them more attention. That's just how it works. And there are so many brands and so many people that take so much advantage of that. 100% advantage. So circle back to yesterday when Kerri got her heckin' Twitter account shadow banned. They forced me to delete the tweet as well, but I took screenshots and uploaded them to Instagram because, of course. Okay, let me see here. So let's go back through the thing that occurred. Let me see if I can find it in Mementos. Ba, ba, ba. If anyone has the link to it, hit me up in chat. Because there was a lot that happened in the past couple of days. Essentially what happened was there was someone on Twitter basically complaining, as one does, because that is the thing that people do when they have issues, is you go on the internet and complain about it. Here we go. So they essentially did like a subtweet to people that use follower only mode in their Twitch chat. If you're at all familiar with my channel, you'll know that sometimes we use follower only mode when places like 4chan decide to do a nice little hate raid, because that's what they do, because that's how people like, they just love drama. They just can't get enough of it. So anyway, this guy thought he would be the nice friendly dude, being like, let me just give you some advice and all of these things, and it's just like, no, that's not great advice for people. So I retweeted the guy saying they're just trying to play a video game without being harassed for 30 seconds. Sometimes follower only mode is necessary. We know that it's annoying, but please understand that this feature exists for a reason. If they welcome the raid, they'll turn off follower only mode. If not, don't raid them again. Simple, right? Simple, right? Just trying to get people to understand from the perspective of people who need to use this feature, why it is there. Getting a lot of attention from that tweet. Yeah, and why? Because we just discussed how social media works, and it works. And so some other guy replied and said, most of the people who raid are good-natured people who want to make someone's day or at least help a dead stream. Okay, dude. To put people down for that just shows how much people appreciate things these days, and then they wonder why no one wants to be nice. So I responded, no one is trying to put anyone down for wanting to be generous and raid people, but you can't demand that people not use features that are available to empower them to create a safe space for themselves. That sounds a little ironic. Then this person replied, I question whether such features offer any protection, but believe me, I don't demand anything. I just met a few people who seem to think that the worst of people who do such nice things for others. Glad you're not one of them. I wasn't exactly sure how to read that statement. In comes my now deleted tweet. It can turn 10 messages a minute about how you're an ugly fucking whore into one message in 15 minutes about how you're a cunt slut that will never make it. So it helps a little, I dare say, just asking people who assume this feature is used to force follows to empathize with the people who need to use this feature. Now, because of the character limit on Twitter, I couldn't put quotation marks around where I was giving examples of quotes that have been said in my stream on a regular basis in the past 5 years. So this person clearly got offended, I guess, by whatever I said and reported the tweet to Twitter. And so Twitter was like, yo, this is hateful conduct. Here we go. Wait, what happened? We've determined that this account violated the Twitter rules specifically for violating our rules against hateful conduct. You may not promote violence against, threaten, or harass other people on the basis of race, ethnicity, national origin, sexual orientation, gender, gender identity, religious affiliation, age, disability, or serious disease. So what did I do?
So nice to meet you.
I sat there for 12 fucking hours, not being able to say anything. And let's see, Twitter rules, hateful conduct. When I finally managed to get back on, I looked up the hateful conduct policy. Let me read it to you. Let me read it to you real quick. Let's have a look here. What does it say? Hateful conduct. You may know blah, 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 blah. We already read that. We also do not allow accounts whose primary purpose is inciting harm towards others on the basis of these categories. That doesn't apply. Hateful imagery, that doesn't apply. Rationale. Twitter's mission is to give everyone the power to create and share ideas and information and to express their opinions and beliefs without barriers. For example, trying to get people to empathize with me about how much I get harassed on a daily basis. Free expression is a human right. We believe that everyone has a choice and the right to use it. Our role is to serve the public conversation, which requires representation of a diverse range of perspectives. We recognise that if people experience abuse on Twitter, it can jeopardise their ability to express themselves. Research has shown that some groups of people are disproportionately targeted with abuse online. This includes women, people of colour, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual individuals, marginalised and historically underrepresented communities. For those who identify with multiple underrepresented groups, abuse may be more common, more severe in nature, hence my quotes, and have a higher impact on those targeted. We are committed to combating abuse motivated by hatred, prejudice, or intolerance, particularly abuse that seeks to silence the voices of those who have been historically marginalized. For this reason, we prohibit behavior that targets individuals with abuse based on the protected category. When this applies. Did it apply? Let's see. We will review and take action against reports of accounts targeting an individual or group of people with any of the following behavior, whether within tweets or direct messages. Okay. What applies? I don't know. Let's see. Violent threats. We prohibit content that makes violent threats against an identifiable target. Violent threats are declarative statements of intent to inflict injuries that would result in serious or lasting bodily harm. For example, I will kill you. Didn't say that. Okay, cool. So that doesn't apply. Wishing, hoping, or calling for serious harm on a person or group of people. Didn't do that. I guess that doesn't apply. Cool. Excellent. References to mass murder, violent events, or specific means of violence where protective groups have been the primary targets or victims. Didn't do that either. Cool, doesn't apply. Excellent. Inciting fear about a protected category. We prohibit targeting individuals with content intended to incite fear or spread fearful stereotypes about a protected category, including asserting that members of a protected category are more likely to take part in dangerous or illegal activities. Didn't do that either. Okay, great. Repeated and or non-consensual slurs. Racist and sexist tropes or other content that degrades someone. We prohibit targeting individuals with repeated slurs, tropes, or other content that intends to dehumanize, degrade, or reinforce negative or harmful stereotypes about a protected category. This includes targeted misgendering or demeaning of transgender individuals. We also prohibit the dehumanization of a group of people based on their religion. For more on this policy can be found here. As far as I'm aware, this is the only part of their rules that even remotely applies to what I said. The fact that it wasn't even targeting anyone, it was just essentially showing my experience with what happened, absolutely blows my mind. Okay, so do I need to be the target of this content for it to be a violation of the Twitter rules? Some tweets may appear to be hateful when viewed in isolation, but may not when viewed in the context of a larger conversation. For example, members of a protected category may refer to each other using terms that are typically considered slurs. When used consensually, the intent behind these terms is not abusive, but a means to reclaim terms that were historically used to demean individuals. When we review this type of content, it may not be clear whether the intention is to abuse an individual on the basis of their protected status, or if it is part of a consensual conversation. To help our teams understand the context, we sometimes need to hear directly from the person being targeted to ensure that we have the information needed prior to taking enforcement action. I have not had anyone contact me about this. I didn't have the opportunity to talk back about this at all, so here we are. I don't know. And I believe there was also a section on context. The Twitter rules? Here we are. Context matters when evaluating for abusive behaviour and determining appropriate enforcement actions. Factors we may take into consideration include, but are not limited to, whether the behaviour is targeted at an individual or group of people, was not. The report has been filed by the target of the abuse or a bystander. I mean, sure, there were people that saw the tweet, but no one was targeted. The behaviour is newsworthy and in legitimate public interest. Not sure how that applies. But either way, I'm pretty sure I didn't violate any rules, Twitter. So, there you have it. Apparently, context is relevant, but when you're trying to, quote hateful and mean things that are said to you in order to appeal to someone's sense of empathy on the platform, that context is thrown completely out the window and no one gives a fuck. And so everything that they're saying about not wanting people to be silenced and after their abuse and whatever is complete and utter shit, if I'm going to be brutally honest. Because it's very rare that we see, as we talked about this whole time, brands and people who abuse how this stuff works, and those who are trying to fight back for just kindness and love and people to not do those shitty things, who get punished for it. So great. Also kind of relevant to how this is. The reason that I chose specifically to use those words or those examples ugly fucking whore and cunt slut. The reason that I chose to actually use those words and not censor it is because it waters down the message when it's censored. I recently watched the movie Black Klansman as an example, and all props to that movie. It was fucking fantastic, but I honestly think that if they had censored that film, it would not have the same impact that it has in terms of trying to get its point across. So that's just, yeah, exactly. People don't censor themselves when they throw abuse at people, so why should I have to censor myself when I'm essentially just regurgitating what people have said to me so that I can show why a certain feature on the website is necessary for me to use? But yeah, so apparently that was hateful conduct and I'm edgy and stuff. And so that's my rant. And I hope that anything that I said was useful. And if it was, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. This is going to go up on YouTube too. So if people watching on YouTube have any comments, chuck them down in there. Hopefully not any more hateful ones, because like I'm just going to respond kindly to further the engagement on my video, since apparently that works. But yeah, thanks for listening to me rant. Let me catch up on this here Twitch chat.